time now. In these 2 hours, we're gonna learn about programming. What is your normal programming? And there is something called programming paradigms. Programming paradigms is nothing but you can see here. I'm talking about focus. We'll talk about what is programming. Programming paradigms. Programming paradigms is nothing but types of programming. In programming, we have different set of types. Like we have functional programming, concurrent programming, iterative programming. We have some types, imperative programming. So I'll talk about those types. Now, then afterwards, we'll see some of the common programming languages like Java, C, C++, what is Python, what is JavaScript. We'll see all these kind of things. At the end, to the end of this lecture, we will see program structure and its syntax, like how a program looks, how you structure it, how you give it to a computer, how computer understands it, and how computer will return you an output. This is all the things which we are gonna see today. There are no prerequisites. Even if you are starting right, like if you don't know what is programming, how syntax and all, it is fine. We'll start with very basic, and then at the end of the class, at the end of this 2 hour session, at least you will know all these things. And one more thing, like I see some of you are sending messages in chat. So how it works is actually like in a class, in this type of classes, even though I can see the left side chat here in my second monitor, I won't be talking about it. But for example, if I covered a theme and primary goals, for example, I have taught you what is the theme and what is the primary goals and all, a set of concept, and then I will ask you if you have any doubts. If you have any doubts, please do put it in chat, in our chat. Then after you putting in chat, then I'm gonna look at the chat and I'm gonna reply back to you. So this is just for some students. It's just for maintaining the structure. That's all. So when after completion of a particular topic, maybe like theme and primary goals, I will ask you if you have any doubts. Then you can put it in chat. I'll look at the chat. I will talk to you. I'll reply everything to you. So yeah. So now let's talk about programming and all. Before actually talking about programming, here in this material, we have some themes, like what is this actual theme of programming and primary goals and all. So let me talk about it. You all know Google, right? I have any, like some of the time I'll ask you a question in between, and then you can put the answer in the chat also. Are there any person in the chat or any person in our instead of calling person, I'll call you friends? Are there any one of your friends, if do you think you don't know about Google, please do message me in the chat. Like any one of you don't know Google, please do say yes or something in the chat. You all know Google, right? It's a common assumption. We all know Google. If if someone don't know Google, I don't know like why, but let's take an assumption. Everyone knows Google. Everyone knows Amazon. I'll also open Amazon. Let's also open Amazon. Like we have Google, Amazon. Why do you think? And let's take a normal company, like let's take a company which you all don't know. Something like anything culture side. Okay, why to criticize other companies? I don't like that. Can you tell me, like, or else wait. I have a website called Target. Okay, Target. So you have Amazon, you have Target. Okay, let's take Amazon and Target, and for Google, let's take Yahoo. I'll tell you why I'm doing all this. So we have 4 companies now. We have Google, we have Yahoo, we have Amazon, we have Target. I don't know if all of you know Target or not. Target is also kind of website where it sells you products, just like your Amazon. But I don't know if you all know this or not. So can you tell me in the chat? Can you tell me in the chat. We all agree that Google is better than Yahoo, Amazon is better than Target. What's the difference? Google, Yahoo does the same thing. Google and Yahoo does the same thing. If you search something, it gives you out results and all. Even Yahoo takes some extra steps too. Yahoo takes like what is trending, weather, scoreboard, stories. But Google does nothing. In its main page, it does nothing. But Yahoo does a lot of things. It also does a search engine for you. And for example, take Amazon. Amazon is a shopping website. Target is also a shopping website. But Amazon, you all know Amazon. Even I know Amazon. I use Amazon. But Target is also doing the same thing with better UI. Like it gives you all these kind of things. But still, we use Amazon. What's the difference? What's the primary difference between them? I see chat now. A lot of good things are coming up. Google is more user friendly. It's all about UI experience. User try to, which is easy to use, better UI. Is it only UI? Like do you think it's only because of UI? Is there anything else other than that? I accept. If you compare Google and Yahoo, Yahoo is a bit over UI. I know that, but Google is a bit simplicity. But if you take Amazon and Target, I feel that Target is much more simple. If you think UI, Google is very simple, just like Target. Target is to the point, very simple. Amazon, it sometimes overflows your page with all this kind of things, but Target keeps it simple. Is it only UI? Do you think it's only UI? Reach to the customer and simplicity. If we talk about simplicity, Target is much more simplicity than Amazon. Price discount, more functional. Yeah, more functional is one of the answer. Is it much more popular? I see all of your answers. The answer is nothing but the programming side, the functionality. You know, Google, what it does, for example, if out there in the world, if someone is doing better programming, immediately Google goes and buys them, because Google wants the best programmers to be in their company, the best programmers out there. Even Google does this kind of thing. For example, if there is a better programming in Yahoo, if there is a good programmer who knows what he's doing in Yahoo is working in Yahoo, Google goes to that guy and it buys him or her, and it brings and they bring that person to Google. Google does this. It's a fact. Even Amazon does this, the same kind of thing. If it finds a person who is good at programming and it is working for any other company, it sends them email. There is something called backdoor. It does something kind of that, and it brings that person to their company. It's all about the talent and the programming side. For example, if Yahoo, it takes 16 seconds to bring out search results, Google takes millisecond. If Yahoo takes 2 seconds, Google takes just 1 millisecond, 2 millisecond and all. But yeah, Amazon also does the same thing. Target takes, for example, Target takes 3 seconds or 5 seconds to do something. Amazon does the same thing in microseconds, in milliseconds. Google and Amazon are so crazy about it. Yahoo and Target sometimes cannot reach to that person's expectations. It goes on, for example, I'll tell you, like, I think every big company does that, you said, right? Not every big company. For example, if you take Apple usually don't do that. And also, for example, Yahoo is there. Yahoo can only go to a limit. For example, if a person is working in Yahoo and is earning a salary of, let's say, 3 crores, what Google does is it offers him 10 crores, which Yahoo cannot do it. In the stage of, in its present stage, Yahoo cannot give a person 10, I'm taking examples. Yahoo cannot give a person 10 crore, but Google is in a state where it can give 10 crores, 20 crores, 30 crores to a person if he is well enough, if he is well good enough in programming. So there's a kind of thing going on there. And in the gist of what I'm saying is, if you are good at programming, companies take you, And also these companies rely on programming. The main basic part of these companies is programming. Even if you say like some said the difference is server, even the server is written by a programming language. The people who write servers have to be good enough. It's all about programming. The programming defines whether a company is going to be a successful company or not. The product is nothing but a programming. For every business, if you take the right the right aspect of a business to grow is its product. I don't know if you all agree with me or not. It's not marketing. It's not who the CEO is. It's not where the company is flowing. If the product is good enough, you're willing to pay as much as possible. For example, if the product is very good, for example, take Apple. Why do you pay for Apple? Because of its camera, features, security. If Apple's camera is not good, if Apple's security is not good, do you think you're gonna pay that much of amount to buy an iPhone? I don't think so. The same thing goes for OnePlus and all. It's because of the structure they made, the programming they made, the product they made. Here for Google, Amazon and all, their product is programming. That is how important programming is. And also programming is the only thing in this world where you can start a business without even investing money. Like you're not even taking 1 rupee of out of your pocket, you can start a business just by learning programming. But you have to spend time. I agree with that. Time is money, but not actual money. You're not going to keep actual money on the table. You're going to use your programming knowledge and you can start a business even. That is how powerful programming is. And the knowledge of programming is limitless. If you know programming, there are a lot of ways for you to go. You can go into ethical hacking. You can go into web development. You go into gaming. You can go into augmented reality, but all the roots connect back to programming. If you know programming, there are 1,000 ways for you to go. That's what I wanted to tell. That's the theme. That's the entire theme of today's class. So the primary goals that we're gonna set to this class is you will be understanding programming concepts, not only to this class, to entire, this modules and all. You're gonna learn data types, variable. Don't worry about what is control structure, what is functions and all. I'm gonna tell you. We're gonna learn about, for example, let's say blah 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 blah, like data types, variables, control structures, functions, and algorithms. I'll tell you each one what it is and all. You will be learning about paradigms, programming languages, syntax, expressions, variables. These things will be coming up. You will be learning something called IDE. IDE is nothing but, I'll show you. I can visually show you that. Don't think this is a code I'm working on. It's a small side project. I'll open a new window. So yeah, this is what an IDE looks like. An IDE is a place where you will write the code, where you will type the code. That is nothing but your IDE. Yeah, if you are new, you can download Visual Studio Code. This is the software we will be using in the entire modules and all. So I will also see how to run your first program. If possible, in today's class, I'll make you to do that. In today's class, I'll make you to run this code, first program. So yeah, until here, if anyone having any doubt, you can ask me. We have set the theme of this class. We have also set the primary goals of this module. If you have any doubts till this moment, exactly till this, you can ask me. And I see your chat. Good. I'm just seeing if I missed out anything. Okay. What is the time there? Here it is 10:30 morning. I'm in EDT zone. Okay. I think I have answered everything. What is the difference between Visual Studio and Visual Studio IDE? It's not related to this, but I'll just tell you, because when you're trying to download Visual Studio, you just hear me out once. If you're trying to download Visual Studio, you're gonna see two things. One is Visual Studio, the normal Visual Studio. This is called Visual Studio. It looks exactly like Visual Studio Code IDE, but it is two different things. Remember what I'm saying. Visual Studio IDE is for C and C++. It is for designing games, writing game logic, and writing C++ code. It is mainly for .NET and C++. This one, Visual Studio IDE. You need to download Visual Studio Code. Remember this. Visual Studio is different. Visual Studio Code is different. Visual Studio Code is for, you can write any programming language, Java, JavaScript, Python. It can handle many things. But Visual Studio can only handle .NET and C++. System required Java. What are the softwares required? How to install them? I'll get to you at the end. So yeah, I'm continuing then. Again, the same story, getting started with programming. I took Amazon success, right? That's what they're explaining here. Amazon success and how it became a bigger thing. It's only because of their programming, their website. When Amazon first came, like it was so basic. I remember it. It was very basic. Advertisement used to pop up all the website, and it used to be a very bigger task to buy something in it. But later on, they used frameworks, they used React, and they have set up their Amazon website, which is now what we are using. It's only because of their website programming. It's Amazon in what it is right now. You can see that thing here. My favorite part. Now, what is this full stack web development? I love full stack web development. I'm a very huge fan of it. I'll tell you why you need to be a full stack developer. When you have to become a full stack developer, what is this kind of stuff? I'll tell you everything. I'm from here. I'm not going to talk about this material. I'm going to talk on my own. I love this part. So please do bear with me. Full stack. Let me open first full stack. And if you think I'm going a bit fast or I'm going a bit slow, you can put it in the chat. That kind of thing, I'll adjust myself if you put it here. Now, starting itself, I'm saying full stack is different. Full stack web development is different. Full stack is different. Full stack web development is different. I sometimes call students as my friends. Lot of our friends just don't get this point. They get confused usually. Full stack is different. Full stack web development is different. These are two different things. What is full stack? For example, if you are able to create a game, I'm talking about an app, like a game. Like if you take something like an Android game or an iOS game, if you talk about a game, and if you are able to build a game from starting to end, means if you are able to create a character, if you are able to create all those buildings and all roads, if your character is moving, if the game is working, if you are a single person who can do all these things, then you are called a full stack game developer. You will be called full stack game developer. Full stack is nothing but if a person is able to finish something from starting to the end, we call him full stack. He's a full stack developer. For example, if you build an app on your own from starting to finish, you're a full stack app developer. You're a full stack Android developer. You're a full stack application developer. If you do the same thing for iOS, you're a full stack iOS developer. If you do the same thing for a smart TV or something, if you use Java, you are called full stack Java developer. If you do the same thing for a website, if you are designing a web applications from starting to finish, then you are called full stack web developer. You're called full stack web developer. And if the full stack web developer is working on a project, we call that full stack web development. So full stack web developer is nothing but a person who works from starting to finish on a website, on a web application. Now, if you let's take a small pic. In full stack web development, there are two parts. Sorry. Ah, okay, this picture is good. So in a full stack development, there are types. There are primary. When we are talking about only primary, like very basic. If you don't know anything about full stack, if you're talking only about basic. One second. There is a chat 2 minutes ago. Devi Prasad and Jana. So there are some students who are trying to join live class as well, but it's not working globally. Can I refer this to technical number? I will message this. Raghunath and Devi Prasad, I've seen the message. I will send a message to Nitin. He's my manager. I will tell to him. So yeah, no worries. But yeah, thanks for helping your friends. Many of them are facing. I'll let them know right now. I'll just put down a message to them. I don't know if they're present here. Uh, I'll just drop down a message. Yeah. In my second monitor, I'm doing it. I don't think I'm not doing it. I'm doing it in my second monitor. Yeah, I've sent a message to Nidin. Yeah, he should be get back to me. So yeah. So where I am, full stack web development. There, if you are talking about very primary, like very basic, full stack is of two types. Like it is divided into two types. I'll tell you there are different types. There are more than 5 to 6 types. But when we're talking about very primary, very basic, full stack can be divided into two types. One is front end. The other is back end. Front end, back end. What is this front end? What is this back end? I'm gonna tell you now. For example, let's again open our Amazon. I'll open Amazon.
I have a few skills that can help. You mean Amazon Storytime?
That's my Alexa. I'm sorry. So yeah, let's take Amazon.com. So can you tell me, by just looking at this website, can you tell me what is the how they have written the code? What functionalities do have they written? Where is the server located? What is the server doing? Can you tell me all these things by just looking at this website? Yes or no? Just tell me that. It's React.js, but what it does, like what are the functionalities they're using? For example, what are the functions they're using to get me this deal in the back process, like in server side? What are they doing? No, right? We don't know. We don't know, and we don't want that also. I don't know like no one in this world wants to go to shopping and wants to find their functionality, how the store is working, how much they're getting paid. No one cares. We go, we buy something, we just come out. The same thing is happening here. Whatever you look on the screen, whatever you're looking on the screen is your front end, is your client side. We also call it client side. You can see it here. We call it client side. Client side in the sense we are the client. I am the client for Amazon. Amazon is just a servant. It's kind of a servant to me. I am the client. I am like a customer to it. I am the server. And I am the client. And the thing that I'm able to see is called client side, because it's my side. UI is on my side. So we call it client side. Client is me. I am the client. The back process, whatever is happening, the back end, for example, the server. In the server, we don't know what is happening there. We don't know where the server is located. We are not maintaining the servers. Server is somewhere. It is doing some magic. That server side is called back end. We call it actually server side. So client side, server side. Front end, back end. Front end is nothing but the UI part, the style, everything, like the colors and all. Colors, pictures, images and all. Backend is server, the actual logic which you will be writing. So that is the two things for full stack web development. One is the front end part, the other is the server side part. And when you go some layers down, it can be still divided into many things. It can be divided into front end, back end, databases, DevOps, and goes on. it can, how many ways it can be still divided, but don't talk, we'll not be seeing DevOps, we'll not be seeing mobile app dev, we'll be talking about databases. So databases, some companies will attach databases to the backend and databases always come together, they are attached. So that's why we call front end and back end. But sometimes few companies want to keep databases separately. So in general, full stack web development are classified or divided into three things: front end part, back end part, databases part. What is this database? Database is nothing but the data that you store. For example, in Amazon, there is this deal. Let's click on it. It's $20. So let's see that. If I'm clicking on add to cart, somewhere I'm storing, like Monesh Venkul is storing this what do we say, stylus, the thing that we write, and also a bag. It is getting stored in database somewhere. That is called a database. Database is nothing but to store the things. It is to store. So that is your front end, back end, and database part. So now, if you have any doubt till here, I'll talk. Still one more thing I left out. So one more thing. In front end part, you will be having in this particular modules, in this thing that you're gonna learn, you will be learning HTML5, which is called HTML to build web pages. Your CSS, your JavaScript. JavaScript is a programming language. CSS is for styling. JavaScript, frameworks and libraries. Frameworks and libraries are nothing but they come from JavaScript. You will be learning Bootstrap, React, Angular. We will be seeing all those stuff in the later classes. So in the back end, you will be learning programming language, only one programming language. You can learn Node.js. For back end, a bit famous one is Node.js, but also you can learn Java, Node.js, and Java. I'll talk about programming languages at down. There are still a lot of things to talk about programming languages. I'll talk about them. Databases, you will be having MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQL Server, and all. But you can also learn MongoDB. I don't know in this module, but you will be also coming across MongoDB. We'll be seeing at that time. I'll tell you what is MongoDB and how it works. Server technologies also you'll be learning, like Apache, Nginx, Microsoft IIS, and all. There are other ways to handle server technologies also. I'll show it to you. Next, frameworks. Frameworks, you will be learning Express.js, which is very important. But for Python, you have Django, Ruby on Rails. You have a lot of things. Laravel is for Next.js framework. You will see all these these are some of the examples. You're not going to learn all those things, just examples. So this part I've already told you. Front-end developers will work on styling part. They'll work on building websites and all. Back-end developers will be working on the functionality. Full stack developers will do both. They'll do website designing, they'll do programming, both. So yeah, till here, if anyone have any doubts, you can ask me till this picture. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Backend. Oh, that's when you asked. It's working on server side. Yeah, React is both client and server. Yeah, React can be used for both client side and server side. You're right. It can be used for both. Sir, why we need to learn Java? Good question. Here in this modules and all, you will be learning JavaScript. JavaScript is used to build websites and all. But why Java? I'll tell you my real life experience. Then you will understand why you need to learn Java. I went to an interview. I'll just complete it fast. I went to an interview. Before attending the interview, I learned only JavaScript. From my starting of my career, I was learning only JavaScript. Other than JavaScript, I have not touched anything. I don't know Python. I don't know Java. I don't know R. I don't know nothing. Only JavaScript. But JavaScript, I went to peak level in JavaScript. If you give me any code, you ask me any question, I can write it in JavaScript. I can program in JavaScript. So I became a master in it. I went to an interview. The interview is about software developer job. It's a normal software developer job. Okay, I went to the interview. In the interview questions, like they'll be asking a question, you need to write code for it. They don't have the option of JavaScript. When I clicked on the drop down to select the programming language to answer that question, there is no JavaScript. There is only Python, Java, C, C++, I think. That's it. These are the 4 available options that are given for that question. I simply closed my computer. I walked away from the interview because other than JavaScript, I don't know any other programming language, which is a big toll. Like, because some companies, they ask you questions in, they want you to answer that particular question in Java. They want to ask that particular they want you to answer in C. Some companies didn't get, no, they have not upgraded themselves to JavaScript. They are still stuck in Java. So if you're trying to apply for those kind of companies, you also need Java as a backup. I'm talking, Java has to be your backup. Java is now my backup. My first is JavaScript. My backup programming language is Java. If you still go to back, like for handling data and all, I use Python and R. Like I learned these 3 languages: JavaScript, Java, and Python R. So that's why we need to learn Java. It is a backup language. If anytime JavaScript is not present, or if there is a time where you cannot use JavaScript, you can bring Java to the front. Yes, Jenna. Sorry. You're right. Laravel is a PHP framework. It's not Next.js. I'm sorry. I got confused. Laravel is PHP framework. You're right. Is Eclipse similar to VS Code? No, Eclipse is for Java. VS Code is mainly used for JavaScript and for building web pages and all. Difference between Java and JavaScript. Java, again, one more thing. Java is different. JavaScript is different. Lot of our friends get confused there. They even my own brother, my cousin thinks that Java, and I told him to learn JavaScript. He was learning from 2 months Java. Then suddenly asked him how much he learned and all. He was saying Java is a bit tough and all. I told him to learn JavaScript. He's learning Java. Like he thought Java and JavaScript are the same thing. This kind of confusions usually happens. Java is different. JavaScript is different. Java is mainly for building computer applications. It is mainly for building computer applications, like computer. You see some applications, right? This DualSense 80, Zoom, these all. We build it for. Java is used to build those kind of application in computer. JavaScript is for website designing, website development. Both are 2 different languages. Is full stack developer work on database? Yes, you have to work on database. You have to work on database. So which is the most valuable front end, back end, and data? I cannot answer this, Deepak, because if you ask me which is the most valuable, brain or your heart or your legs and what do you say, your hands, I cannot tell it. Everything is valuable for me. If front end is not there, customer cannot use our website. If back end is not there, website will be there, but it is a dead website. If data is not there, there is no user interactivity. So all these 3 things are important, equally important. Front end, back end, data. The 3 are equally important. Can we choose Python? No. My suggestion would be no. Python is the easiest programming language to learn. So like even my own friends and all, it's like you will be easily attracted to Python. But mark my words, if you only learn Python, there will be some trouble you will be facing in the future. Why? Because Python is a very slow language. It is a very slow language. It's like tortoise. If you write a piece of code in JavaScript, if it runs for 3 seconds, the same code, if you write it in Python, it will run for 10 seconds. Python is very slow. You can check it up in internet. There will be memes that Python is tortoise and all. So my suggestion would be not to use Python for web development. Instead, you can use Python for data handling. For data handling, I would suggest instead of using JavaScript or Java, Python is good for data handling. Like if you want to become a machine learner, like machine learning, data scientist. Python and R. There is another programming language called R. These two things are better. But for normal programming and websites, I won't suggest Python. This also goes for Devesh. That's the same answer. Like why we need Node.js. So what is the easiest language to solving coding problems with DS? JavaScript. When I start JavaScript, you will come to know. In the like, Python is the easiest to learn. I agree with it. Python is the easiest programming language out there to learn fast. After that comes JavaScript. Python, JavaScript. Second easiest language to learn in this entire world is JavaScript, because JavaScript is a dynamic language. You don't need to say everything to it. It automatically understands a lot of things. So next to Python, JavaScript is very easy to learn. So I suggest JavaScript twice now. So most of them are not able to join. I myself join now. Oh, I'm sorry, Shubham, for that. I didn't got any reply back. I messaged them. Or else, wait. I'll just give me 1 second. I'll just message to them in my WhatsApp. Just 1 second. I'm just messaging them for you. So are facing issue to join the class. Yep. I messaged him. I think he'll reply me back. So are there more jobs available on JavaScript? JavaScript. There are more here, even in US. If we talk, most of the jobs are for JavaScript. But JavaScript, you cannot leave it in intermediate. You have to go to advanced level. Trust me. Don't leave JavaScript in middle. If you can go to advanced level of JavaScript, there are number of jobs waiting for you. Like, no, there are vacancies here. No one is able to crack that interview. JavaScript, if you're going to advance, that's it. You will be going to bigger companies like Google and Amazon. They usually take JavaScript developers. And Java is also good. If Java, you like, intermediate level is also fine. Java, like most of the companies, you can go to Java, like as a Java developer. I say, if you learn JavaScript to advanced level, you'll go to big companies like Google and Amazon. If you learn Java, you'll be going to an intermediate company. Will we learn Java in this course? I think at the end, you will be learning Java. But we can save time because coding is very less. I think this is for Python. If you will be saving time in coding, but you will be like, no, your code takes a lot of time to run. Or else, let's take our example. If I open Amazon, and if Amazon takes 3 seconds to load, I close it. It's a fact. I don't know if all of you does this or not. If in my mobile, if I open Amazon, if it doesn't open in 1 second, I lose my interest to shopping. I lose my interest. I just close it. I'll do my other work. So in 3 seconds of time is losing a customer. Time, like milliseconds of time, matters for this kind of companies. I don't know if you heard this news or also not. Google, I think Google or Amazon, like their server went down for like 1 second or 50 milliseconds something. They lost millions of rupees. Because of the time gap. Sorry. I'll just keep on answering these things. So yeah, I'll answer other things, but yeah, we'll continue this, and again I'll come back. This is the problem with me. When I start interacting, right, I go in a flow. I forgot where I am. So yeah, why MERN stack is popular among full stack engineers? What is this MERN stack? This is a new word that you will be learning. MERN stack is nothing but, I'll show a picture of it. So MERN stack is nothing but MongoDB. It's a collection. It is a we'll be learning MERN stack. It is a collection of MongoDB, Express.js, React.js, and Node.js. MongoDB, ExpressJS, React.js, and Node.js. In the top, if you see, I've given you some examples like MongoDB, ExpressJS. Here I have shown you ExpressJS. Where? Somewhere, yeah, here. ExpressJS, MongoDB, React.js should be here. They have not given it. Yeah, React.js, and your what's the one thing we are missing? I think I've shown you all right. Node.js will be here. So from your frameworks and libraries, from front end part we have taken React.js. From backend programming languages we have taken Node.js. From databases side we have taken MongoDB. From backend frameworks we are taking ExpressJS. By using these four technology, MongoDB, ExpressJS, React.js, Node.js. By using these four technologies, we will be building amazing web applications. So the starting letter of MongoDB, ExpressJS, React.js, Node.js, if you see, it is MERN, MERN. We call it MERN stack. And it is very popular. Why? Because if you, I don't know, again this part, example, Facebook used to be very lagging in the early 2011 and 2012. I don't know if you remembered it or not. Facebook used to be like, sometimes it used to be stuck. It used to take some more time. Some things used to not be working and all. Then Facebook developers, mainly Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook developers, came together. They implemented a framework. It's not like this. We have to make our website still more better. They came up with this concept called React.js. They have invented React.js. Facebook developers have created React.js. React.js is of Facebook. If you can look it up in internet. Then Google saw it, and as a rivalry, Google has introduced Angular. But React came first, and React has much more better components than Angular. So that's why it is popular. In the coming classes, we'll be using this React.js, MongoDB, ExpressJS and all. But let's see why it is famous. It is JavaScript based. In the sense, you can learn it easily. You can learn React.js easily. So that's all about JavaScript based. You'll be learning it easy. It is of JavaScript. Since you will be already learning JavaScript programming languages, you learning React.js is much more easier. Scalability in MERN stack. For example, if you designed a website and today 1,000 customers are coming, it will scale itself. It can handle. If tomorrow 10,000 customers are coming, it can handle. It will scale itself to handle the customers. Strong community. You can just, there's a website called Stack Overflow. If you can just have a look at it. Stack Overflow, it is a website to clear all your doubts when you're coding. If you have any doubt, Stack Overflow is a community where people will help you with answers. It has a good community. If you have any doubt about MERN stack, if you Google it, you will be getting the answers. It is using React, which is built by Facebook, which has large library components. The best framework I have ever used. The best framework I have ever used, React. Performance wise, it is very fast. When compared to other stacks, our MERN stack is much more faster. Flexible data model. Flexible data model is nothing but when we use MongoDB, you can create your database in such a way you can organize everything. For example, users. This part is for users. This is for passwords, login, customers, products. You can just organize everything in your MongoDB. It's much more easier. Wide range of library and tools. With one more thing about MERN stack is that, for example, if you want login functionality, you can simply bring login functionality from internet. You no need to code it. There is something called node packages. I'll talk about it. These things will be confusing to you right now. I understand these things are new. There's something called node packages. This node packages, it will bring the login functionality to your web application. You no need to code it. Automatically, it will be imported. So all these things are done by your MERN stack. So till I think not completed. Still, I'll go down and then I'll ask you. So understanding web and its building blocks. We'll try to understand what is a website. Now, still now, I talked about coding, programming, website building and all. Now I'll talk about actual website. This website. So for every website, I think all of you know it. It starts with HTTP. Do you know? Do you all know this or not? If you don't know it, I'll talk about it. Do you all know that every website starts with HTTP, right? If anyone don't know, just say put a no in chat. I'll tell it to you. Yeah, so you all know. Okay, there's a one no. Okay then. So every website starts with HTTP. It starts with HTTP. If you see Stack Overflow, if I copy it, if I paste it somewhere, it starts with HTTPS. If you, I'll zoom, I cannot zoom this. It starts with HTTP and HTTPS. It's a transfer protocol. It's a transfer protocol which is used to connect to your service provider, internet service provider, to get that website. To get that website, the protocol, the medium that we use is HTTP. There are two types, HTTP and HTTPS. If you see any website starting with HTTP, it's not a secure website. It's not a secure website. Don't give your credentials to that kind of website. If you open any website and if you see HTTP and it's asking you to sign up or it's asking your credit card or anything like that, don't ever give your details to HTTP websites. Give your details to HTTPS. If you see here, Stack Overflow is HTTPS. HTTPS. Even your whatever website you take, it has to be in HTTPS. If it's not HTTPS, either it is a block. If this is a block, it can be in HTTP, not a problem. But we will once check. See, still it is a block, but still it is HTTPS. So HTTPS are more secure. Now, what are the 4 building blocks that we have here? Content, client and server, protocol, identification. I'll talk about it. What is content? Content is nothing but the text, the images, the videos, the color, all these things that you see up on a website is your content. It is your content. All the things that you see is your content. For example, if you see Stack Overflow, the pictures, the styles, the navbar, everything is your content. Client and server. Client and server is nothing but the browser that you use. Like you are using Google Chrome or Mozilla, Microsoft Edge, you need a browser to see web applications. If you don't have a browser, you cannot see a web application. So browser is your client here. Browser is your client here. Server is your website that is coming to your browser. Protocol is the medium where you will be transferring your data and everything happening. Usually it is HTTP and HTTPS. I've talked about it just now. Identification. Identification is nothing but your login and sign up. Your login, your sign up, and there's something called DNS. I'll talk about DNS. You need to know about DNS. Identification is more about your login and your sign up and all. So DNS. What is this DNS? DNS is nothing but let's say www.google.com. www.google.com. I will also show you Google DNS. I'll show you in live. I'll show you. I think this should work. Okay. So https /www.google.com. This is not the name that will be stored in your Google server. This is not the name that is stored in your Google server. Google's actual name is this 20014860 something, and it's IP4. I don't talk about IPv4 and IPv6. It's a different concept. Or else we can also call it 8.8.8. This is actual name of Google. This is the actual name of Google. Why? Because if not all websites are stored in google.com, stackoverflow.com. This is not how they are stored. They are stored in number format. They're stored in 888.88.666.44. This is how they are stored. But now when I'm clicking writing www.google.com, how Google is coming? When I type www.google.com, this whatever I think I have to show an image. DNS. Not this. This is okay. Yeah, this picture is okay to just explain you what is happening and all. So what usually happens is when you click www.google.com, that www.google.com, for example, if I'm using a Geo internet in India, we have Geo, right? Geo internet, the www.google.com will be going to Geo. Will be going to Geo. Whatever you type in browser, whatever you type in your mobile phones, it goes to Geo. Everything goes to your Geo. Geo or Airtel, BSNL, any service provider. It goes to them. For every service provider, there will be a DNS. DNS is nothing but, yeah, someone put it in the chat, domain naming system. It's a domain name server, domain naming system. What happens is it takes this www.google.com and it converts that to an IP address. It converts to a number. It converts to an IP address. It's like a dictionary. It converts that google.com to an IP address. Using that IP address, then it will be sending it to Google server and it will be picking that website and then it will be coming back to us. That is called DNS, domain naming server. Just understand what DNS does. DNS will convert your website to its IP address. That's it. That's what DNS does. And someone asked me about servlet somewhere. I see it in the chat. Servlet is nothing but a kind of server. It is kind of a server. It is usually used in your Java programming language and your JavaScript. It's used to build servers and all. So yeah, till here, if anyone having any doubts, you can ask me. We have talked about 4 building blocks: content, client and server, protocol, identification. If you have any, I talked about programming, why programming is needed and all. To just give I have to talk about programming paradigms. Before talking about it, I'll tell you just in simple words. I'll tell you, programming is nothing but telling the computer what to do. Telling the computer what to do is programming, nothing more than that. For example, if you tell a person go straight, take right, go straight again, take left, when you're giving directions to a person, it's same like programming. You're doing the same thing. If the user clicks on this, do this. If the user clicks on that, do that. If the user clicks on cart, open cart. That is what we are doing here. Programming is nothing but we are telling computer what to do. Nothing more than that. Do this, do that. When user does this, do this. That's it. But the way we write programming differs. The way we write your programming language differs. Before talking about programming paradigms, do you all understood what is programming? Or if you have any doubt regarding programming, like if you didn't understand what programming is, put it in the chat. Because only if you understood what programming is, I can teach you programming paradigms. Otherwise, I cannot. So please give a short summary that if we type any website to browser, what happens. Good. Okay, I think you need to know this because in one previous batches I usually explain this. Okay, then I will tell you the journey of a website because you have to know this, and this is not. I think it's not given in the material, but you have to know this. I'm just finding a good picture. Just 1 second. No, it's a image that I am trying to find. This is not the actual image I'm trying to find, but it does the work. So what, I'm just telling you the journey of what happens and all. So what happens is like you're the user. You enter HTTP, for example, google.com or something in this browser. Then that browser will send actually to ISP. Here there is a thing missing, ISP. ISP is nothing but your internet service provider, your Geo, Airtel and all. From there, it goes to DNS server. It goes to DNS server. The DNS server translates your domain like google.com to its IP address, to IP address like 888.444, something like that. Then based on that IP address, it will go to its server, like to its particular Google server. That Google server will get that, and it will send HTML, CSS, JavaScript back to the whoever asked that request. It will send it as a response that will be rendered and shown it to as your website. So that is the reason if I open Amazon.in, it will take some time for me to open that website in this particular computer because I'm very far from India. If I open .com, it will be much more faster for me. There is a difference because if I type .in, I am going to Indian server to pick that website. If I type .com, I'm just picking a random server from my nearby and I'm taking that website. There is a difference. So did you got the journey of what happens when I type google.com, where it goes, how it comes back? It's okay if you didn't understand, tell me that. You got right. Then it's okay. And I see that you all understood programming. That's nice. Okay. So now let's talk about programming paradigms. Programming paradigms is nothing but style, the style of programming. It's like a style of DNS is like a librarian. So yeah, programming paradigms is nothing but the style of programming. For example, let's take, I don't know if for you it's dinner time. I should not take this kind of examples. It makes you feel more angry. Let's take chicken biryani. The same dish can be prepared in different ways. Same dish. The same way, programming also the same thing. Each programming can be done in different ways. It's all the same thing, but little bit different. There are different ways like imperative, functional, logical, event driven, aspect oriented, concurrent. There are still much more styles like object oriented, procedural. There are still types, but when you're starting this basic, we'll only see about imperative, functional, logical, event driven, aspect oriented, and concurrent. Each one has a light difference, very small difference. All are programming, small difference. I'll talk about it. Imperative programming means it is telling like what functions to do rather than to put it in words. I there will be a line. Wait, I'll show you a line. How to perform a task rather than what the task is. Here in imperative programming, you will tell how to perform a task, like what to do and all, but you won't tell the computer what the task is. You won't tell. Example, I know it's a bit confusing. For example, this is an example. I think this example is good. Let's take a user's age input, and we'll be taking user's age and we will be checking if he's old enough to vote or not. We'll be checking if he is old enough to vote or not. So the program would use a sequence of commands like it will take the input, it will check if the user is 18 or not, like greater than 18 or not, and it will allow the user to proceed or display the error message. Imperative programming only it's like blindfolding itself and performing its task. Imperative programming is your normal programming, like print. How to say it in a better way? I'm trying. Artificial intelligence is not imperative programming. Why? Because artificial intelligence doesn't if you say something, it doesn't give you in a right way. It will follow 1,000 ways, and each time the output will be random. But in imperative programming, every time it is same, and it only follows the steps of instructions that you give. That is imperative programming, and the normal programming that we do in our daily life is imperative programming. We just give a normal steps and it executes itself. But if you take data science or artificial intelligence programming, like the programming that they use for data science and all, every time the output has to be random. When I say hello, one time it will say, hey, hello, how are you? Next time it will say, what are you doing today? Something like that. It doesn't follow a set of steps. It something goes on its own. But what we do in our daily life is imperative programming. It just follows a step of instructions blindly. It's a very basic style of programming. Next is functional programming. Functional programming is same like imperative, but it uses more functions. I don't know if you know functions or not. Functions in JavaScript. This is how functions look like. This is how functions looks like. Uh, if you're programming more using your functions in your mind, then we call it functional programming. That's it. Functional programming, the main focus is functions. Logical programming is nothing but you giving a set of logics like tic-tac-toe, sudoku. If for example these kind of games, there is a particular logic that you need to follow. You cannot go out of that. It's a logic predefined. You're writing that logic. Only on that logic your entire program will be run. That is your logic programming. Logic inside functions. But the way, if you're thinking more of functions when you're writing, it is functional programming. If you're thinking more of logic side, your logical programming. But all the programming is same. Bit of difference, pinch of difference, that's it. Yeah, every programming needs logic, but if you're focusing more on your logic side, it is logical programming. If you're focusing more on your functional side, it is functional programming. The good example is Sudoku puzzle. You will be giving some logic to it. Sudoku means this logic. You'll be writing some logic. Based on that logic, every time you get the, what we say, missing numbers and all of Sudoku. Tic-tac-toe also the same thing. Event-driven programming is also the same thing like programming, but here the main focus is user. When the user clicks this, do that. When the user clicking on that, do that. When the user clicks on this button, do this. When the user does that, do this. It's all about user. If the user is doing something, you do that. That is called event-driven programming. Event-driven programming. Aspect-oriented programming is nothing but, for example, if in your application you're separating your security, logging, what we say, other important aspects of an application like UI, if you're separating and if you're doing it individually, it is aspect-oriented programming. Every programming is same. Again, I'm telling, every programming is same. Small differences, very small differences. Where the main focus is, it differs. For example, chicken biryani. If we add more spices, the taste will be different. If you add more salt, that taste will be different. If you add more ghee, that taste will be different. Same thing, different. So that's what aspect oriented programming is. If you're separating your logging, security, what we say, any other examples, logging, security, UI, and you're building it individually, aspect oriented programming. Concurrent programming is nothing but if you are able to do multiple tasks in a one time. If you're performing multiple tasks in a application, it is concurrent programming. Everything all the same. All these paradigms are same. Again, I'm telling, very pinch of differences. Imperative is all about what to do, how to do rather than what to do. Imperative is only about how to do it. How to do, that's it. What I'm doing, I don't care. How to do. Whether I'm driving an aeroplane, whether I'm driving a train, whether I'm driving a bike, I don't care. Tell me how to do, I will do it. That is imperative. Functional, I don't care about logic. What are the functions I need to use? You tell me. That is functional programming. Logical programming is all about what's the logic that I'm using. That is logical programming. Event-driven programming is where the user is clicking, what I have to do. Aspect-oriented programming, I am separating and I'm building it. Concurrent programming, doing multiple tasks at the same time. That is concurrent. Everything seems to be same, but bit different. So yeah, if you have any doubts still here, you can ask me. Maybe you'll be having some doubts. Chessa Ludo. Explain object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming in the coming classes I'll teach you, because it is a separate class, I think. Object-oriented programming is a separate class. At that time I'll tell you, because I have to show you again objects and all. Instead of functions, it will be focusing more on objects. That is object oriented programming. So yeah, anyone having any doubts till here, you can ask me. Do not hesitate. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm more of student side than management side. So no worries. If you have any doubts, tell it to me. I'll repeat it again. And if you're able to get this all in one way, oh my god, then it's great. Sir, every language have OOP. Not every language. C doesn't have object oriented programming. Concurrent is nothing but multiple tasks. If the programming, if the code that you write can perform 2 or 3 tasks at the same time, means one side it has to take the input from the user, other side it has to render the website, the other way it has to do some calculations. If everything is done simultaneously in the same time, we call it concurrent programming. We call it threading also. It's a very famous mechanism in Java. We also call it threading on or concurrent anything. Multiple tasks simultaneously. You can see an example such as downloading files while processing user input. Yeah, multi-threading. Yeah, most used one is OOP. That's why we kept it separate. In which language we will learn DSA? JavaScript. You will be learning DSA in JavaScript. No, JavaScript. MongoDB is a database. It's not a programming language. By using JavaScript only, you will be learning DSA. Aspect-oriented programming. Aspect-oriented programming is nothing but, for example, like logging. Every application needs logging, security, UI, and all, right? If you are able to make them separate, security separately you're building, UI separately you're building, logging separately you're building. If you're able to build them separately and if you're combining them, it's called aspect-oriented programming. So I think I answered aspect-oriented program. If you still have doubt, let me know, Ravindra. Anyone, if any doubts you have on this aspect-oriented oriented program, in the sense like you're like building blocks, you're separating them, attaching them later. But C is developed based on OOPS concept. No. C is not OOPS concept. C++ is OOPS. C++ came only because of that. C do not have OOPS concept. So, like developers came together, they have implemented C++. C++ has OOPS. C does not have OOPS. JS is fully object oriented. Yeah, JS is fully objects. JavaScript is completely objects. Can we call it multitasking programming? You can call it multitasking programming also if you want. It's a name given by us only. You can call it. Sir, I'm going to that if you use any image to explain anything, please zoom out the image. Yeah, sure, Raman. Sure, Raman. I'll take this as a feedback. Yes. If I show in image, I'll zoom in. I understand. Like some of you may see it in mobile. The display, I understand. Yes. One is Python plus Django, which is better for development. I would go with Monstack, Gaurav. So why start by JavaScript? Can we start first HTML? This one I'll talk, Raja. I'll talk about it. Why DS is important? DS, I'll talk about this thing, Raja. I'm not skipping it. DS is important because data structures is the thing that differentiates a normal programmer from a good programmer. If you know data structures, you will become a good programmer. How to organize and all. So which language used to cracking interview for startup? JavaScript is good for cracking interviews, or Java. Next is Java. Now to answer your why we start with JavaScript, a lot of you may have that question. HTML is easier. Why not start with HTML? So the thing is, when you all are new, right? When you're joining to this particular classes and all, in the starting phase, you will be so motivated. Like if you see 78 people are in this session and a lot of you are chatting with me and all, you are so motivated right now. Even for me, it's the same thing. When I take up a course, in the starting initial days, I will be highly motivated, very high motivation. Like every day I'll be opening, learning, doing this thing, doing that thing, asking doubts and all. But slowly, gradually what happens is, that concentration level or that motivation level or that thing gradually comes down in the middle of the thing. It gradually comes down. Usually it happens. I'm not saying for everyone it happens, for few it happens. So when you're highly motivated in the starting phase, we thought it would be better to go with JavaScript than HTML. Why? Because even if you're less concentrated, even if you're less motivated, still you can grasp HTML and CSS. It is easy to grasp HTML and CSS. But JavaScript is not like that. To learn a programming language, the basic thing you need to have is motivation. Without motivation, you will not learn a programming language. One day you will learn, 2 days you will learn, third day you will leave it. That's why we have moved JavaScript to the starting. Even I am the guy who suggested it also to them. We have changed it here and there. We have made some arrangements. Since you're highly motivated in the starting phase, we thought it's better to go with JavaScript. When they're highly motivated, let's teach them JavaScript. Then let's go to HTML and CSS. We thought it in that way. Yeah, it is okay to teach JavaScript before. Sir, if we learn DS by using JavaScript, but most companies paper, there is no option of JavaScript for solving. So that's the reason you will be again doing it with Java. In JavaScript, what happens is you will be learning the concept of array, data structures like arrays and all. But the actual coding part, you will be once looking at it in JavaScript, you will also be seeing that in Java also. In Java, again, you have DSA. You will be learning, you will be seeing it in JavaScript and in Java. You will be prepared for both the things. Yeah, JavaScript is a bit harder than HTML and CSS. That is the reason we have put it in the front. Since you are highly motivated now, you will be easily grasping the things. I would not suggest a DSA in C++. Go with JavaScript. Gaurav. So yeah, what are the common programming languages that they use, that usually the world uses? If you can see the wait a second. HTML and CSS is not a programming language. Okay, maybe they took a picture of tools. HTML and CSS both are not programming languages. So yeah, if anyone says HTML and CSS is a programming language, if you see the statement, just hit them in the face. HTML and CSS is not a programming language. The HTML is a markup language. CSS is a styling sheet. That's it. They're not programming languages. So yeah, JavaScript in the overall the world 65.36% use them. So majority. Next, HTML and CSS, SQL, Python, TypeScript. Then comes to your Java. You may ask me why Python is above than Java. Python is used because of AI, data science, machine learning, and all. So that is the reason Python has crossed Java. But if we are talking about coding, still Java is the king. They have taken the tools, like what are the common what we say common things that are used by developer. So that's why the HTML and CSS are added here. But HTML and CSS are not a programming language. If you don't trust me, go to internet and check. There will be a huge number of memes regarding HTML and CSS calling it as a programming language. It's just what are the things that most of the developers use. Most of the developers use JavaScript, HTML, CSS, SQL, Python, TypeScript, Java. So yeah, if you can see here HTML and CSS are not mentioned. This is the actual thing. So Java is used for your web development, enterprise applications, Android app development, big data processing, and all. Python is for data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. JavaScript, web development, front-end development, server-side development, game development, augmented reality development, mobile application development. JavaScript can do mobile application also by using something called React.js or React Native. See, you can just read it through C++, PHP, Swift, C#. Someone asked me in the chat about Kotlin. Kotlin is also for Android app development and server-side development. I personally used Kotlin once when I'm developing some Android application. Kotlin is also good, but it is only for Android app development. So, yeah. If you have any doubts still here, you can ask me. Browser understanding language is JavaScript. The easiest language to solve the coding problem in DSC is also JavaScript. difference between JavaScript and TypeScript. This one I won't answer it now, Mohammed. I'll take this question later in the coming class, because TypeScript, no one got to know about TypeScript, so it later. So yeah, if you have any doubt till this moment, you can ask me. If no doubts, just message me. So yeah, this is an activity. Answer the fill in the blanks. Like, what do you think is the first answer? Read it, and you can put it in the chat. Is the process of creating computer software and other computer related functionalities by writing code that a computer can execute. It is called programming, debugging, or compiling. Programming. So yeah, it's the right answer. Programming is the right answer. Let's go to the second one. Imperative programming gives the computer a sequence of commands or statements to execute. Okay, that is right. Whereas dash programming prioritizes the utilization of functions to tackle the problems. It uses functions. Which one? Event driven, functional, or concurrent? Right, functional is right. Third, dash programming separates cross-cutting concerns such as logging or security from the main programming language, like separating. Aspect, imperative, or functional? Some said functional. That's wrong. It is functional is for previous one. Okay, I got it. Aspect oriented is correct. No, it's not imperative. Imperative means like giving a set of instructions, it will execute it. Aspect oriented is like separating the functionalities and then building on top of it. So the right answer is aspect oriented. Next, now comes your program structure and syntax. I'm here again. I'm not talking about program. I'm not talking about JavaScript code and all. I'm talking about how a normal program looks. What are the things that a normal program has? A normal program. Just an overview. In depth, we are gonna see it in the next class. That's introduction of your JavaScript. Today's class till here, we're gonna see this just the structure, how it looks and all. So program structure is nothing but a set of instructions, that you give. It can consist of loops. Here you can see it. It consists of control structures, conditions, loops. It can have functions. It can have classes. It can have many things. Whatever the things that you will be learning, it can have many things. It has a starting, and it has an ending. A program structure has a starting, has an ending, and in between it can have many functionalities, many methods, many types, many like conditional loops. It can have multiple things, multiple instructions. It can have multiple instructions. That is how a program structure looks. Starting, ending, and in between it have multiple instructions. What is a statement? In any programming language, a single line is called a statement. A single line. For example, if you see this picture, switch new date, a statement. Case 6 is a statement. Text equal to Friday is a statement. Every single line every single instruction that you give is a statement. For example, if a person comes and asks you where to go, you will be saying take right, go straight, right? Take right is a statement, go straight is a statement, turn left is a statement. Every single thing, instruction that you give is a statement. Again, chicken biryani example. Taking pot is a statement, filling it with water is a statement, putting rice is a statement, adding spices is a statement. Every single instruction that you perform is a statement. Semicolon. Some programming languages have semicolon at the end of the statement to say that the statement is completed. That instruction is completed. There is a difference between take pot, add water, put spices and all. Like if I continuously say it without full stops and commas, that thing is different. Like take pot, add water, put rice is different from take water, put rice, take pot. The gap is there, right? The gap is semicolon. Semicolon tells the programming language where the statement has ended. But in JavaScript, semicolon is optional. If you want, use semicolon at the end of every statement. If you want, put it, or don't put it. It's up to you. Because JavaScript is an intelligent language, even if you don't put that semicolon, it automatically understands. Usually, if you go down, for example, if you press enter and if you come down, usually that is treated as a semicolon. So you no need to mention every time semicolon. There's no need of it. It's the same thing. They're saying every new line takes a semicolon, but not particularly. For example, if you say here alert 3 plus 1 plus 2, your JavaScript will automatically understands that you want to add 3 plus 1 plus 2. It doesn't take as a different instruction. This complete set is one instruction. JavaScript understands it. It's a dynamic language. But if you does the same thing for Python or Java, it will throw you error. But JavaScript doesn't throw you error. It's a very good language. Comments. There is something called comments that you need to know. Comments are nothing but in JavaScript. I'll open my Visual Studio Code. This code will confuse you. I'll open a new one. I have to rename it. Select a language. JavaScript. Yeah. Hello. This is a comment. Now, whenever I'll zoom in a bit. Whenever you're writing like this, right? This is for developers. Like I am writing for myself, or I am writing for the people who look at this file. This won't be executed by computer. Computer will not read this. Computer will not read this. So whatever you write in // after // it is called a comment. Comment is used for telling what the code does, what the functionality does. For example, before starting any code, you can simply write this code is about login. This code is about something like that. You can write it. Just a comment to tell what it is. So yeah, till here, if anyone have any doubts, you can ask me till this moment. Till this moment. And in JavaScript, you have something called multi-line comment also. I can type how many lines I want. And I can just do like this. And if I sorry. Edit, where is multi-line? Toggle block comment. Yeah, this is called multi-line comment, where we use /* and // at the end. If I whatever the thing that I have written in between a /* and // it will become a comment. Computer will not read it. Computer will not execute it. Computer will not understand it. That is called this /* and all /* and //. So till here you understood, right? Next is setting up your development environment. This one still time is there, so you can do this. So before setting up your programming, is there many type of commands and in different languages? Yeah. Regarding commands, in Java the comment symbol is different. Python it is different. JavaScript it is different. For JavaScript we use this and this. This for JavaScript. Now, coming forward, setting your development environment. Before starting any programming or your development career, a development setup is needed. You see many developers, they spend most of their money on their setup, usually the monitor, their tools inside the computer. They spend a lot of money on it, because if your tools are better, everything becomes easier to you. So some of the things that to set up your development environment inside the computer, I'm talking about inside the computer, the software is needed, not the physical setup. The software is needed is your IDE. The first foremost thing you need to have is your IDE. The IDE that I prefer is Visual Studio Code. If you don't have it, you can download from website. I'll put it in the chat. Just download and keep it. If you know how to install it. Yeah, this is the website. Based on which operating system you use, download it. Visual Studio Code is a very popular IDE which we use for developing websites. Next is Sublime Text. I also have Sublime Text. I'm sorry for that. We also have Sublime Text. Sublime Text. Sublime Text I mostly use it for writing and all. Even you can write whatever thing you want. Even if you write Python, it understands it. Even if you want JavaScript, you can write, but it won't execute it. Your Python, your IDE, your Visual Studio Code does that. Is it over? It's still 12:30, right? Is Visual Studio Code free? Yeah, Visual Studio Code is free. Visual Studio Code is free. Next, you need to install something called Node.js. Node.js is also a website. Node.js. This is a website where you can download Node.js. You need Node.js to run JavaScript code. Next, you need to also have something called npm. You need to have something called npm. Um, or else I can show it to you right now. We have time. So yeah, I'll show it to you. Can everyone download Node.js now? We'll talk about Visual Studio Code in the coming class. Download Node.js. Node.js will be here. Download it 18.16.0. Click on it. You can download it. Download it and install it. Do it right now. I'll make you to run your first programming thing. npm init, npm install, we can cover it, but I'll just tell you how to write it. Install it, install it. Downloaded, right? And then have you all installed it? Which version of Node.js to be installed? This one, 18.16.0, or any node is fine. You can use this link to download if anyone facing any trouble. Done, right? I'll just show you a simple one, a simple thing. Why they talked about bundler? Oh, okay. Done, right? It's this one. So yeah, anyways, this is recorded. So even if you take time, it's okay. I'll just show it to you. You can just repeat the steps afterwards. So you can go to desktop or anywhere. Desktop or something. Desktop, go to desktop. And you can create a new text document, a very basic one. Here you have to remove the .txt also. I'll zoom in a bit. Here if you see, sorry, remove that .txt and change it to .js and name it something like my first. Where it has gone. My first JS. You can open it with Notepad or you can open it with anything. I will be opening it with Notepad since all of you have Notepad. I'm opening it with Notepad. Remember, I'm opening it with Notepad. The name of the file is myfirst.js. Now I'll be writing console.log. This is my first JavaScript file. Okay. Console.log. This is my first JavaScript file. I'm saving it. Control S. Now, in this particular desktop location, I'm opening CMD, command prompt, my command prompt. And I will type node. Look at this thing carefully. You can repeat the steps afterwards. Node my first.js. Type enter. So you can see the output here. This is my first JavaScript file. Whatever the thing that I have written here got executed and it was run. The output came in the terminal. So this is how you execute a JavaScript file. Node and the file name. Node and the file name. This will be your first JavaScript file that you will be running. Here instead of this is my first JavaScript file, you can write your own name by and your name. You can enter your name. Mine is Monesh. So, and you can just rerun it. This is my first JavaScript file by Monesh. So once again, I'll be repeating. Create a new file, open it in Notepad, name it myfirst.js, any file name. But .js is important. .js is the extension. It is very important. Myfirst.js, first.js, anything is fine. Write console.log. This is my first JavaScript file by Monish. This syntax and all I'll tell you tomorrow. Write console.log and whatever you want, keep it inside. Then open your command prompt, your terminal. Click on here in the desktop, click on here, type cmd. A command prompt will be open. Type node and the file name .js. Sorry, it's spelling mistake. My first .js. Yeah, it got executed. So this is how you run a JavaScript file. Try it out. Tell me if anyone not getting, tell me in the coming class. I'll be asking you. Try it out. Install this Node.js. After installing it, try this out. If it's not coming, tell it to me in the coming class. JS is interpreted. It goes line by line. So yeah, before ending the running your first Hello World program, we have done it. But still, some of the things you need to know. When we are creating a project, today we are not going to create a project, but I'll tell you the steps. When you're creating a project, you need Node.js, package manager, npm. We call it npm. This is an actual website, npm. If you want, you can go visit it once, npm. You need npm. By using npm in it, yes, a project will be set up in your computer. And we also have to have a bundler. Bundler is nothing but it will combine all your files. For example, if you are having 50 files, 50 files will be combined together into a single file. I can show you a live example of bundler. If you click on F12 in your system, if you click on F12, this will be opened on the right hand side. If this will be opened on the right hand side, or you can also right click and you can click on inspect. Then also it will be opened. Do you think, like you think, what do you think? Put it in the chat. Do you think? I'll bring this. Do you think AlmaBetter developer has written all these things in a single file? Do you think yes or no? Does the developer, full stack developer who has written the code, do you think he has written the entire functionality of AlmaBetter in a single file? Do you think he has written it in such a way? No, right? No. He will be writing in 100 different files, but using a bundler, by using a bundler, he will be merging that 100 files into a single file. That is the use of bundler. And you already know about syntax. Syntax is nothing but a set of rules. Set of rules. A syntax is nothing but a set of rules that has to be followed. That has to be followed for a programming language. I hope you already know what syntax is. Syntax is a rule. So yeah, activity 2. Let's do activity 2. First question, put your answers in the chat. JavaScript applications cannot use multiple modules or files. Yes or no? True or false? Just now I have said it to you without knowing. Just now I told it to you. JavaScript cannot use cannot use multiple modules or files. False. The answer is false. Syntax includes rules for defining variables, functions, and classes. Syntax includes rules. True or false? Syntax is all about rules. True. A bundler is a tool that takes all your JavaScript files and combines them into a single file. True or false? If it is I see some F, it is wrong. It is true. So yeah, these things are correct. First is false, because JavaScript application can use multiple modules or files. A syntax includes rule for defining variables is true. Bundler is a tool that takes all your JavaScript files and combines. True. So that's your activity 2. In summary, you have learned about what is programming, what are different paradigms, structure, different types of programming languages, and how to set up your development environment and your first file that you run. And in the coming, you will be learning about debugging, how to keep up with new technologies, security vulnerabilities. You'll be coming to know about it much more and more. So best practices to do from now, right from now, is to start coding from right now. Practice, go to internet, search here and there, use a consistent coding style. I see this is a problem with some of even my friends. Coding style has to be very consistent. Today you use what do we say, paradigm, and tomorrow you cannot use object oriented paradigm. If you take up a project, stick with only one paradigm. Code comments, you should also mention code comments whenever you are writing a function or whenever you are writing a program. On the type, just give 2 slashes and write who is writing the code and what you're writing the code for. So if you want to enhance your knowledge, these are the 2 resources that we have. Yep, that is all about today's class. We are